Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Jim Pappas. I'm shooting this video actually a day before it goes out and airs this Friday. Just to kind of say what's up. Hope you guys are doing good. I've been working on my John Wick Batman piece for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days here. And I wanted to create this video for you guys to kind of see a little bit of a time lapse approach to it from sort of its midpoint to its completion. I know I sent out earlier this week a little time lapse video that I did just kind of on a whim, getting a handle for some things. Posted it there on Instagram, and I also posted it on the YouTube channel. But as the rest of the week kind of wound down, I was able to dedicate a little bit more time, put some finishing touches, make some more decisions as to what I was going to do in regards to the background. And as I kind of sit here, I'm feeling as though I'm pretty close to completion. I like everything where it's at, and I've kind of gotten to this point now where I feel like if I make some more marks, if I go in and I'll give you guys a kind of a look here. If I start doing too much on it, then I might overwork the piece a little bit too much. As you can see here, I've got my halftones patterns that I've been applying in pretty much all over the place with sort of an idea of stuff, and you can probably get a better idea for what I've worked into the background and stuff like that. But like I said earlier, I'm kind of at the point right now where I think if I do a little bit more work on this, I might be overworking it a little bit too much, and it's something that I really don't want to, because I'm kind of proud of this and I like the way it turned out. And I also want to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek as to what I'm working on now for my second piece this summer. So stay tuned to the end of this through the little time lapse, and I'll kind of narrate some of the things that you guys are looking at, and then give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming up next week that you guys can see sort of through its progression. So stay tuned or keep watching or whatever. So like I previously said, I am not a professional at this by any means, and having already recorded the voiceover for this once before, I realized I left a really big chunk in the video that I actually wanted to have deleted out. So I kind of have to go back and record some of this stuff. So I'll try to do my best here as I sort of narrate through the time-lapsed work in the background and some of the halftone detail work that I have in here. Now, like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. I have a fairly decent setup here through some of the resources from my classes, but when it comes down to professional, production and things like that, I'm working straight out of my studio / extra bedroom that we have in the house, and space is kind of limited. So unfortunately, you'll constantly see the corner of my head pop in. I've got the camera placed directly over my shoulder, but unfortunately sometimes I like to get a little too close to my artwork. It just helps me kind of see and be comfortable with things. And as you can kind of tell, it does ruin the perspective for the viewer. Now, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with the backgrounds here, so I worked in a cool gray 30 and 50% for both the sky or the background, and then the bottom foreground area where John Wick is standing on what is going to be worked into as a car. But again, this was something that as I was producing the series of these videos, I really didn't think about the background all that much. Because I wanted to make sure that the quality of the content was good. And probably for my next piece, this is going to be something that I spend a little bit more time trying to think about and interact with the characters a little bit. And I'll kind of show you guys that towards the end of this video. But one of the things that you'll kind of notice from this sped up view here is I switch on and on between my scissors and my X-Acto knife. And in previous videos, I kind of mentioned that it really makes sense, especially if you're trying to get intricate cuts, to use an X-Acto knife, because the knife itself can get into those sharp detailed little areas and cut out those intricate patterns. Unfortunately, I have no idea where the handle for my blade is. I've got plenty of replacement blades, but I have no idea where the handle is. I think I hid it so that the kids wouldn't be able to find it, and I think I hid it too well, and now I can't find it. But later on in this video, you can see that I switch over to the blade because some of the cuts that I was looking for just were so intricate that I needed to do that, and that took a little bit more time than I wanted to, just because it was kind of awkward holding onto a blade and making sure that I didn't end up slicing through my finger or anything else. The other thing that I think I'm going to do is with my second piece, I'm going to work directly on the artwork. You'll notice here I've got just a little paper creasing tool that I sort of adopted, and that helps to make sure that the halftone patterns actually stick or adhere to the artwork. But I found constantly putting the halftones over top the artwork and tracing out these little sections a little bit more problematic than I liked. So I think for the next piece that I'll be showing you guys later on, I'll probably work directly on the artwork and try to be as careful as possible, so that I don't cut through the artwork. That was kind of my first fear of doing that, but I think it might work a little bit easier to be able to cut away and remove areas instead of just working small areas by small areas. Now, when it came to figuring out the placement for the halftones, I got to admit, I do a lot of my work digitally, a lot of my prep work digitally, that is, and I was able to play around with some halftone patterns through the iPad that I've got, and get a pretty decent placement for where I wanted things, and that I think helped me out a lot when it came to cutting out shapes and putting those shapes on, just because I didn't have to worry about making mistakes or anything like that. Now, over the course of the last few days, I have been trying to figure out ways to incorporate some other colors and work in some extra details. So you'll notice here we kind of cut ahead. The background's a little bit more refined here with this chain link fence in the background and some raggedy fence poles, and then when the camera comes back in focus, there we go, you can see that I added a little bit more detail to some lightning bolts and some texture to the clouds or sky in the background. I'm still kind of playing around with the idea as to whether or not I want to add texture of rain in here. I'm not really 100% sure, and like I said, since I do work digitally, I can kind of experiment with that on the iPad first, and then maybe introduce it more traditionally, either with a fine tip drawing marker or even the white pen that I was using to throw some highlights in there. All in all, I think this piece turned out really well, considering I didn't really have an idea or an end game worked out before I started it. But this piece over the course of the last 2 weeks, I think has evolved really well, and I'm very satisfied with it. I like how far it's come, and I'm really excited to get to work on the second piece that I'll be showing you guys in a little bit here. I'll kind of let the last couple of clips here kind of speak for themselves and let you guys take a look at everything. I appreciate you guys kind of watching the journey and everything.